Going to give it 5 stars again. I'm bored. She seems to be like a mommy, so.
Hello, welcome back to my channel. I'm currently in the middle of numerous books, and by the middle, I mean literally 50%, 65% in that range. Like, I literally am smack dab in the middle of multiple books right now, and that also means that I'm not finishing anything, and it's just not working. It's not working. So I thought that today we could do a bit of a challenge over the next 2 days or 48 hours. I'm going to be finishing some of the books that I'm in the middle of. So the first one is Life of Pi by Jan Martel. I started this, I want to say 2 weeks ago now. And I've been slowly reading it on my Kindle. So I'm not even in the correct place in the physical copy right now. But I've been loving it. I was obsessed with the first 20 to 30% of it. And then somewhere, this might sound odd to say, but when the plot really started, I kind of started getting bored. Because I know I want to say the ultimate outcome, which is survival. So I think some of the stakes in a plot like that are, or I guess, I don't know, they don't entirely work for me, but I do really want to finish it and see it through because I was really, really loving the first bit of it. The next one, which I am 65% of the way through, is All This Twisted Glory by Tahira Mafi. This is the third book in the This Woven Kingdom series, which I am absolutely loving. I honestly think I will prioritize this one first. I think I'm going to sit and read a bit of that today and maybe make it to like 80%. If I could finish it, that would be fantastic. But it's already evening when I'm filming this, so we'll see how realistic it is. The last one that I'm in the middle of is Am I Lion? I'm less in the middle of that one. I think I'm maybe 25 to 30% of the way through that one, but that is also a relatively short read, and it's a world that I'm really familiar with right now. So I'm really loving that series as well, and I would love to sink my teeth into it and really finish it this week. So for these next 2 days, these are the three books that we'll be really prioritizing. But because I'm already halfway through some of them, I'm thinking that we're going to have time. Am I delusional to think this? Yes. But I'm thinking that we're going to have some time to at least start one of the books from my physical TBR for the month of May. So let's just get into it. Okay, so we are about, not about, we are actually exactly 10 pages out from being done with All This Twisted Glory. I thought I would give my final thoughts and feelings on this book because obviously I can't talk too much about it. This is the third book in a series, and the first book, just a quick premise, is that we have our main character, Eliza. She is the long lost heir to this Jin empire, and there's basically this prophecy saying that, at a certain age or after a certain thing happens, she is basically like the messiah for these oppressed people within this world, right? Who are called Jinn. And she ends up crossing paths with the heir to the throne of Adunia, who, they are the big guys, they are the largest empire in the world, and they kind of coexist kind of with the Gen, but ultimately they do not want the Gen to be able to overthrow them. So they cross paths and they kind of strike up an unlikely friendship, almost, question mark, or something. And the story follows from there, right? So I've been really, really enjoying the story simply because I really, really, really love our characters. I love all of the characters from the first book. I love there's one specific character that we get introduced to in the second book, and we also kind of get a revelation about one of the characters from the first book. So I feel like the second book really like honed in on the character development and seeing different sides of some of these characters, which was so fun. And I went to the third book, and I think that I've heard a lot of people saying that this book or the series in general is very slow, and it is. I will say that I feel like I've read about to be three full books in this series now, and I do feel like in terms of fantasy and plot progression, I don't feel like a lot is happening per book. I feel like a lot hasn't actually happened in the past three books. We're getting some revelations, we're getting some insights into certain characters in each book, we're getting how each of them kind of fit into the other person's story, kind of. But we're not really like we're getting allusions to what's really supposed to happen with our main female character, and we're slowly seeing some things falling into place, but really we're not seeing that much. Not much is happening with the fantastical plot and her coming into her power and stuff like that. So do I wish that there was more progression and more happening with the actual fantasy side of the plot? Yes, of course. But I would read a million books with these characters. Unfortunately, they have me hooked. I think the dynamics of the characters, especially in this book, are so fun. Seeing who kind of pairs off and seeing the team as a whole, seeing a team that was here and a team that was here kind of come together. It's really fun, and I'm just saying that if you're looking for the best fantasy ever, you're not going to get it here. But I'm having a really good time. So 10 pages out, something kind of big just happened, and I'm interested to see how that affects our next book, the fourth book. I think that's the last one that's out right now. And I actually saw it in the bookstore the other day, but it was in hardcover, and I can't get that. I can't get that. I'm not against a hardcover generally. I don't love it, but I'm not against it. But I will never buy a hardcover for a series if the rest of the books are in paperback. That's actually diabolical. The only one that I have the hardcover for, like one book in the series and the rest are paperback, is the Bear Sound series, because I legitimately could not wait for that to come out in paperback, and my husband got it for me for my birthday, not knowing that there are rules about paperback and hardback. So I forgive him, and I also would have done it myself. But other than that, I'm not willing to break that rule. So I will be reading the next one on Kindle and wait until the paperback comes out to get it. But I don't know. I feel like this book and the last book have been, they could have been one half of a book almost. That those are my final thoughts, or almost final thoughts. So we're going to sit here now and finish these last 10 pages. Maybe something will shock me. Unlikely, but let's see. Hello, good morning. So I just had some breakfast, made myself a little matcha. I finished All This Twisted Glory last night.
I'm having such odd and complex feelings with this series because I'm not bored. I'm not over it by any means, but there really is not much happening here, and it's kind of starting to concern me because it's like, okay, I googled it and apparently there are 5 books in the series. This is book 3 that I just finished, and there's one next book that's out, and then the 5th book is the final book that comes out next year. So I almost feel like our time has been wasted in a way where reading this book and the 2nd book felt very much like filler episodes, and just the lack of plot progression and all of the things that have been alluded to that we haven't got not even a little bit of resolution to. I mean, I could respect keeping the intrigue and building intrigue throughout the series and only really getting big answers at the end. I can respect that, but I feel like there are a lot of steps before that. There must be little things that you give to the audience throughout to show that the plot is progressing and to kind of let them in on what's going on. I feel like we have no idea what is happening. We haven't really seen to this point, and this isn't a spoiler, it's just a critique. We haven't really seen at this point Aliza, who is supposed to be like the messiah to the Jinn people, super powerful. We haven't seen her really use her powers. So I'm enjoying it for what it is. It's fun. I love the character interactions and the banter. I love the character developments. I kind of like the world, but I feel like we're not getting much of the world, so I don't know. But I ended up giving this one 3.75, which is the lowest that I've rated a book in this series so far, which is kind of disappointing. But in good conscience, I couldn't rate it any higher. I enjoyed it, but I needed more. I was willing to give it the benefit of the doubt that something big and grand was going to happen at the end that would really clue us into what's happening and maybe let us into the story a bit more. And well, so yeah, that's all this twisted story. We finished one of our books, which I'm very happy about. Let's see where I'm probably 45% of the way through this. I'm on page 140, 135. I don't know if I'm in the mood for it right now, but maybe if I sit down for like an hour and lock in on the story, I could get back into it. We'll see. You will see what decision I make. So cheers. I'm bored. I've read like 20 pages since my last update, and I just feel like I'm bored because I know he's going to be fine. You know, I know he's going to make it out. I know he's gonna have a story to tell. One thing about me is I need some intrigue. I think maybe even on the heels of all this twisted glory where literally nothing happened, I'm not in the mood for nothing happening again. I need a plot. I need progression. I need some whiplash. I need to not know what's going to happen next kind of vibe. I'm not getting it from this. I'm also not going to get it from Emma M. Lyon. So we are in a bit of a predicament where should I pick up our next book? Okay, so this here is my physical TBR for the month of May, and ignore the dead flowers if you can even see it. But we're going to choose a book from here. I'm immediately gravitating towards this because I do feel like this is going to be very, very plot driven. This is The Frozen River by Arya Lohan, and it is a GMA book club pick. I've also heard really, really good things about it. To this day, I'm not entirely sure what it's about, but it's been on my radar for quite a while, and I think I like it, so I'm going to commit to this. I'm not DNFing Life of Pi or MM Lion, but I do think that I will just be reading Life of Pi slowly, and I will have MM Lion as my bedtime book, and we're going to really focus on this one. If you really came here to see me finish some books, I'm so sorry. I will finish MM Lion, but Life of Pi is just actually making me feel like I'm going into a slump, and that makes me feel sick. So, change of pace. Say hi. No? It is the next day. I'm in a different environment today. I'm actually in my childhood bedroom, which always feels so odd. Every time I visit my parents, I usually just stay downstairs in like the living room, dining area, kitchen area. I'm never really upstairs unless I come upstairs to check my younger brother, but his room is before my old room, so I'm literally never in here. It's so different now. Everybody else has kind of taken it as their storage space, shoe closet, suitcase room, if you will. But yeah, I'm here today because I have some babysitting to do, which should be fun. But we have not much of a reading update, but I started back MM Lion last night. And by started back, I mean continued because I never really stopped. But I'm on 31% now, and I plan on making a big dent in that today. I would love to finish it. I think I only have 3 hours left according to Kindle, so I feel like I can knock that out literally this morning if I really lock in. I also started Frozen River, and I'm on page 29 of this, which means that I really haven't even started because I think this one is 430-ish pages, so I still have about 400 pages of this to read, but I've been enjoying it. It's exactly what I needed when I talked about needing something with a plot and with intrigue. This is exactly what I needed. I don't necessarily love a thriller per se, but I love a literary mystery kind of story. That's exactly what this is. So we're following I'm thinking she's our main character, Martha Ballard. So we're following her, and she's a midwife slash doctor in the 1800s. And at first we see her delivering a baby, and she's talking about that and talking about the relationships between husbands and the pressure they put on their wives to produce sons and stuff. Honestly, at first she kind of gave me a bad energy because I feel like she's trying like she was speaking to this one specific husband, and I feel like she was provoking him to say the wrong thing when he didn't really seem evil or ill-intended, but I guess we'll see as the story progresses. I don't know if he's really a main character, but that's kind of the vibe that I got from him or from her so far. She seems to be like a man hater, but she also has a husband and children at home. So I'm interested to see more about her. But there has been this murder of this guy who was accused of raping a young girl within the community, and obviously there are lots of people who feel relieved and vindicated and stuff like that. She's one of them, but there are also other people who never believed her in the first place. And so I guess we're going to see the fallout of this murder, who did it, why they did it, etc., etc. That's kind of where I'm at. I don't know much more than that, but I don't think that there's much more that I could talk about. So that's where we're at right now. I'm going to, I think, go outside for a bit and wait until my charge arrives because she's still not here yet. So I think I'll go outside with Stella for a bit and read. But I think I'll do some Emma and Maya.
I'm about to do my skincare and get into bed. I'm also about to finish volume 3 of Emma Mlaya.
If you read this book or this series, have you loved it? Has anybody ever hated it? I'm so curious because I haven't heard any negative reviews on YouTube, and that's pretty much the only place I kind of get book reviews and thoughts from. Has anybody ever hated it? I think it's impossible, and I would need to do like a psych evaluation on whoever it is that hates it, because something about this book, I don't even want to be charmed. I'm like almost trying not to be charmed, and it's impossible. I am giggling, I'm laughing out loud, I'm blushing. Like, something about it is just so entertaining and so fun to go along with. It's the setting, it's the writing, it's the wit, it's the random, insane cast of characters that somehow all work. Like, they're kind of quirky, but not really, and they just work. Emma is just, she's so kind of in the clouds, but also real. I the first thing I have written down here is I love the friendship she has with Arabella. There are always moments where Emma says something that I think is going to incite chaos, and they just banter back and forth and everything is fine. Like, they have such an interesting dynamic for a female friendship, and I love it. It's not sensitive at all, because Emma can say things that are like, Emma, should you really say that out loud, or is that an inside thought? And then you have to remind yourself sometimes that this actually is her inside thoughts, but she's also saying that I said this, like, we're reading her journals and we're reading her thoughts about interactions, but the interactions are very much real, but yeah. And then in terms of the love interest, right, because if you haven't read this, then you don't know, but there are like a billion of them. There is one that I would consider the main love interest, but there are contenders, there are prospects in St. Crispian's. Like, all of the boys are obsessed with her. So the love interest that I'm connected to is who I think is the main love interest. I actually love his vibe, I love his persona, I love his dynamic with her. I love just that general dynamic where the girl talks too much and the boy says nothing.
Not nothing, but definitely next to nothing. Like he's not very expressive, not very outwardly emotional, but you can tell that like something about her lights a spark in him. Like he is just so fascinated by her. I eat that up and I will eat it up in every format. Once a guy is a nonchalant to a fault, I will eat that dynamic up every time. So that's that. And then yeah, I just said that I love it. I love her. I love the way that she engages in relationships and friendships with people from the society that is typically very or written to be very stuck up.
Not really conforming to society's expectations for how she's forming friendships and relationships with the people in her society. I love that she's just like taking control of life and making everything funny. Like there's always this sense of levity to everything. There are some mentions of grief in this book and in the others, but I feel like this one really started kind of diving into it a bit more. But generally, every hardship, every inconvenience, every annoying person, cousin Archibald, she approaches it with so much levity, and the way that she talks about the things and the in her life is just so entertaining. I'm just going to give it 5 stars again because I just okay. I have no idea how this author has written so many likable men.
Okay, hello. It is now Saturday. I've decided to extend this vlog by one day because I've already introduced this book. So I might oh, it's back. What? I've already introduced it, so I thought that I would see it through, and I'm also kind of binging it today. I have just crossed the 100-page mark. I'm on page 103 of The Frozen River. I am really liking this one. I always thought that I would. The premise sounded interesting. And as I said yesterday, I feel like literary mystery stories that kind of have an underlying theme or message that relates to women and women's rights and the things that women have to go through and suffer through throughout time. Those things all coalescing somehow always work for me. But I don't know, I was kind of nervous. I was kind of nervous to pick it up and then I finally did and I have been flying through it today. I haven't even read that much because this morning my husband and I kind of just binged It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. We started it literally 2 days ago. We have not been able to stop thinking about it. At every chance that we get, we are watching It's Always Sunny. So we kind of binged it this morning. And then I found out that my sister in law is in labor, which is the literal best news of my life ever. Because this would be my first niece. So I'm really excited about that. So this morning slash this afternoon was occupied and then I took a nap because I'm still kind of recovering from a cold or flu or whatever it was that I had. But I've been reading this for the past hour and I made it to 100. So I feel like if I really sit down and lock in, I could this book today. That's kind of what we're hoping for. It's literally 5 p.m. So is it asking for a lot? Maybe, but my husband is playing games. So I think I'm just going to chill in the study with him and lock in on my book. So, or I may go in the living room because he's kind of loud. Doesn't matter where I go. I do plan on finishing. If not finishing, then definitely making it a huge chunk of the way through this. And regardless of if I finish it today or not, I will give my final thoughts. So let's do some reading. I have no other plot updates because I don't want to spoil anything. I just think it's really, really fast paced so far. And the topics of discussion and the way that they're being presented, we're in like a very small town, and I think small towns are always really interesting backdrops for stories like this that involve, I don't think I even said, so I guess check trigger warnings, but trigger warning is sexual assault and rape because it's very like plainly talked about through multiple different experiences with multiple men. So be wary of that before going into this. If I have inspired you in any way to pick this up, it's not a light read, but there is levity to it. It's not feeling as dark and heavy just yet, but I'm sure that we're going to get there. There have been moments of heaviness, but overall, the tone is more mysterious and dark, and we're just trying to figure out what is going on, how these people are going to meet their justice if they are at all, and stuff like that. So I think it's going to be a really, really good story. But we are following, let me tell you. Okay, so we're following Martha. She's a midwife and a healer, and her diary is a record of every birth and death, crime and debacle that unfolds in this close knit community. Months earlier, Martha documented the details of an alleged rape committed by two of the town's most respected gentlemen, one of whom has now been found dead in the ice. But when a male physician declares the death accidental, Martha is forced to investigate on her own. For one winter, as the trial nears and prejudices mount, Martha doggedly pursues the truth. Her diary lands at the center of the scandal, implicating those she loves and compelling Martha to decide where her loyalties lie. That's pretty much. Excuse me? Yeah, that's pretty much what we have going on with Martha. So excited, nervous. I just wanna dance. Girls just wanna have fun. I just wanna get some. Girls wanna summer with their friends. Wanna get the job done. Girls just wanna dance. Girls just wanna dance. What should we watch?
You to learn in one night. Stringent, tough, inflexible. It's not like you're gonna actually use them. Marriage, shit. It's not like you go to college and then you just start speaking a completely different language. Why are you still eating that? Here, put it in the garbage. Well, then I'd have to think about the garbage and eat it. Besides,
Guys, I made a matcha. That was probably the worst matcha I've ever made in my life. Guys, there is a little bit of romance in this story, and I'm always very suspicious of romance in mystery stories, but we're getting little glimpses of the marriage that our main character is in, Martha. It feels so wholesome and loving and tender. I'm just in my opinion, you will actually never go wrong, including just a little bit of romantic love in any type of story. I don't feel like it has to be a major point in all stories, but I feel like just a little bit because I mean, romantic love is so universal. You see it everywhere you see it basically, and it's just, in my opinion, pretty realistic to have just a little bit of romance everywhere. Maybe that's just me, but yeah, I'm loving that. Hello.
gave this 5 stars. It's one of those 5 stars that I gave because I literally couldn't find the fault in it. I was like, why would you take off a half star from this? Honestly, there was a point there where I was like, okay, 4.5, 4.75, not quite 5 stars. And then I read the author's note and it made me cry. I feel like what I was missing throughout the story that kind of made me lean more towards 4.5 while I was reading was that I feel like there was an emotional impact and an emotional punch that didn't quite land entirely the way that I wanted it to, but I don't feel like that should be points taken off, you know? I thought that this was so well written, so compelling and intriguing. I also feel like it's the first book that I've read in quite a while. Like, I kind of went back into my backlist of books that I've read recently. I feel like I haven't read a book with like a serious plot and themes for a while. And so I guess reading this one that had such a strong and like that had such a strong structure and plot and narrative and character ensemble, I felt like this was a story, like a fully fledged story that I've been kind of waiting to read from beginning to end for a while now. So it kind of just met me at the right time. I loved it. I highly, highly, highly recommend. I didn't even know that this was based off of a true story, or maybe I did and I forgot, but it was just so interesting, the conversations about not just women and women's empowerment and the struggles that women face, but also the conversation about justice and sexual assault in the justice system and how difficult it is to prove, because it literally is a crime that takes place in the dark. It's a crime that nobody ever really witnesses, that nobody ever really talks about, and there's so much shame behind it as well. So it was a really in-depth, I think, conversation about it, and I really, really enjoyed that. I feel like this is a book that most people would benefit from reading, and so I definitely recommend this one. This wasn't my favorite out of the 3 that I read this week. Am I Lying actually is just my baby, and I love that series so much. I'm about to start the audiobook for the 4th book, so I'm really excited about that. But yeah, I definitely my second favorite book that I've read, and one of my favorite books that I've read in a couple of months. So that's the first one, but that is the last book that we have for this video. So thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye.